I'm looking at striking this here and hoping that the shockwave, or intending the shockwave to come round and carry itself through the back here. That's going to give me a fairly substantial lump that I can take away and turn into a hand axe. Every time I hit the flint, I strike downwards. If I hit closer to the edge, the removal's going to be smaller. If I go further in, I've got to hit it harder, because problem being, there's a point where it won't actually activate. So we're working on a level of vulnerabilities. What's vulnerable and what isn't? So I'm going to come to about here. I still know I'm in a vulnerable section of the splint. It's about 2 to 3 inches in. I'll give it a good smack. And that can go down to the deck. Now what is good about this is the shockwave just travelled all the way through. It didn't hit any cracks, right? Because if it had hit a crack, it would have bounced off of it. So now that's swept all the way through, and I've got something that's fairly reasonable to work with. So, when you think that a hand axe probably lays through the middle here, this is a kind of a high spot. Now there's two ways we can look at it. We can either decide that's a handle to the hand axe, or we can decide it needs removing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a clean platform at the back and go in at it. Now what a platform is it's where this is a range of angles. So I've got a flat surface here, and that's fairly flat, but it undulates a bit. So I need to come in at it and take, let's say I want to take this top right off. Which is the best way to come in at it? Well, if you think about what a flake is, let me just, I'm gonna take it off and then I'm gonna re-explain what I've done, because that's probably easier. Well, that's a portion of it. So what I did is if you look at this flake, as it travels it gets thinner, right? Flakes generally like to get thinner as they travel. If I'd have come from here, first thing that would have happened, and this is fairly essential at this point, if I'd have tried to come from here through here, you can all see what's going to happen. I'm going to travel into thin air. Well, a shockwave can't travel through thin air and pick itself up on the other side again. Flint always works on the basis that we're either contacting or ricocheting, right? So if I come to an edge, that's good contact, right? Because I'm striking down, it's pushing our removal down underneath.
Yeah.
Now, what I did at this end is I took this little flake off just to give me a clean area that I could strike, right, that lent in, and what I'm looking for is an angle which is around about 70 degrees to the flake that's to the surface after the flake's been removed. So through the next direction for me to come at here, I could build a platform here and come up across here, but that's actually lower down on the stone, so it now means that that flake's got to get a lot thicker on its journey. So that I'm better off coming from this side where it's thicker in the first place, in, and allowing it to graduate away. So that's the preparation flake. And now if we turn it over, we can see the angle's nice, sitting there at around about 70 degrees, and that gives me good contact on the lower section to then remove out of the bottom here. using that platform until I think that I've sort of run into the top edge of it. You know, once it's beginning to be absorbed. Now what I've got there is what we'd describe as a collapse and a hinge, because I probably didn't take quite enough and there's too much weight behind it, so I've actually got a crushing effect here. If you get that and you just carry on going at it, you're going to build that up into almost an impenetrable area, which isn't going to be helpful at all. So the best thing to do is when you get that, you stop there and you need to have a rethink about the way we're going to go through it. I'm just going to come to this end, just take a little bit more preparation flake and take a flake through here that will clean that out. So that was sort of like the beginning to remove that top piece. One of the things that was really worth bearing in mind is I am planning all these removals. I'm kind of seeing it in my mind what I want to remove, and the easiest way to deal with that is go from thinking of this as like a flat plate. The further you come out to the edge, the more kind of understood the removal becomes. So for example, if I just come out to this tip and tap that, we know that I'm going to get a small fragment travel down that way. The further in I come, it's going to expand that fragment and it's going to travel further through, but I need to strike it slightly harder. Now the beauty of this is it helps us to see how we can start making the simple tools, because one of the things that you'll notice about the flint, right, is when it comes off, it's got the razor sharp edges, right? So that's a tool instantly. Now that's fundamentally what you need to start exploring is, can you see the potential for making it into an arrowhead? Or this could quite easily be made into a thumb scraper by rounding it off. So not only are you making a hand axe, but you're also making a prehistoric toolkit. Accuracy falls into the game. If I strike it around about there, this point here, one of my problems is this has got a scooping shape. So that means a stone of this width, if I'm not very careful, I'm actually going to miss the middle. So I'm just actually going to intend to miss the middle a little bit and just come over to one side. It's the depth I want. That will give me the distance and hopefully extend its spire about here. Now if I just tap it, what's going to happen? That would be the worst mistake, right? Because if you think about it, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing if I tap it, because I'm sending a feeble shockwave in that's probably going to get to about here and go, oh, that's it, I can't go any further. So what it's very likely to do is go, well, I've come this far, I need to get out. So it swings and it comes up to the surface, which leaves you a scoop shape. Now you've got that scoop, you can't get by it because everything else gathers at the scoop. So if you've got a big heavy duty flake to come off like that, the best thing to do is intend it. The hardest thing about doing that is hitting it in the right place, because you'll be surprised how many people, once they take a swing, actually hit it there, which if you think about it, is going to destroy it. There's no help to you, so you've got to hit it where you need to hit it. I find the best way to do it is get people to sort of sit with their legs apart a bit, maybe rest their elbow down, and before they actually strike it, go sort of 1, 2, and start putting a registry of physical system together, you know, getting it all built up together so you know what you're doing. Now, the stone doesn't have to come up behind your ear. That is really going to change the accuracy zones, right? That means that you've got a long way to come to get that accuracy to be pinpoint. It doesn't have to come far. All it has to be is, you know, pretty swift. I actually missed myself. I was hoping to come here and I've gone about I've gone about 10 millimetres out. Now that 10 millimetres means quite a lot, because it's quite a lot deeper than when I was hoping to strike it. The consequence of it is I've put a big shockwave in there, and now there's a big fracture laying inside the stone. So that's cost me, you know, and that's the kind of thing that you're going to be coming up against. I struck it, I didn't remove it, but because I messed it up, it now lays inherent in the stone. Now, one of the things about knapping flint, that it tests and stresses the modern mind, because we get all these little lumps and bumps that we think to ourselves, well, that can't be right, that's got to go, and this has got to go, and that's got to change. But what we're doing is we're actually getting away from the story. Now this is where it tests you, because what you're after, right, is this perfect sort of pear shape, yeah? Well, what they did is they put a little platform on the side here, right, and they go, no, that hasn't worked quite right, but it's called a tranché hand axe. And what a tranché hand axe is they put a platform on the side, take a shot and blow the tip right off. But it blows the tip across and it leaves you a razor blade right at the front. So now you've got a hand axe which holds in the hand, and you can skin, carve, and it's razor sharp. But it's semi-destroyed because half the tip's gone. But that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted a tool. They weren't trying to make an ornament, you know. They were making some pretty cool, sophisticated stuff. If I take another swipe at this in the wrong place, I'm going to destroy it. And I really like what I've got, even though it's got a lump on the back, which I was trying to get off. You'll find prehistoric tools that have got lumps on that they've tried from every direction to get. So you've got like a circular hinge sitting on it, because it was like, couldn't get it off. But it was still a tool. So, I don't know if that's been any help. I hope it has been a little bit.